Hey guys, could we swap off Hella? Could we swap off Phoenix? I think we need to swap off Hawkeye. I don't want to be that guy, but I think we really need a true sniper like Black Widow to get this epic victory royale because we just don't seem to be doing enough damage, like headshot damage. Is a sentence you'll never hear in your life because of how buns Black Widow is. But a sentence we just might hear is, hey guys, could we swap off Invisible Woman? Could we swap off Gambit? I don't think we need Luna Snow. I don't think the heals are cutting it. I think we need Black Widow for some juicy heals in the front line, as that's a sentence that Overwatch has with Ana, because Ana is such a solid, well-rounded character, and she has the highest pick rate consistently for the most part in the entire game, just because of how fun she is and how rewarding she feels to play. And such a large audience of people love snipers that healer snipers, and that's a large part and a large thing that Marvel Rivals is kind of messing around with the most recent team up that Black Widow has with Phoenix. This video, I'm gonna have to do a yapathon about Black Widow because there's just so much to talk about comparing Black Widow and Marvel Rivals to Overwatch, simply because Overwatch does their snipers well. So I'm going to be talking about both games, the hero shooter genre, Black Widow, why she sucks, how to fix her, and all these other reasons. So if you want to look at the balance post, just go to the timestamp, just like find it there. It'll say balance post / summary. The current problem with Black Widow is that she doesn't have a built-in damage multiplier on her sniper rifle. Widowmaker does. Widowmaker can one-shot a 275 target with a headshot because her sniper rifle has a charging mechanic where you charge your shot. It takes like about a second or so to fully charge the shot, and you can one-tap a target from long distance. That's what snipers do, and that's what Overwatch does so superior to Marvel Rivals, and it's not even close. That's like comparing a coughing baby to a hydrogen bomb. That's like comparing One Punch Man Season 3 to One Punch Man Season 1. It is that stinky of a difference. As in Black Widow, her kit is so bare bones, it's so boring, and she can't even do what her archetype is known for, and that's heavy impacting long range damage. As Hawkeye, who has a bow and arrow, can one shot a target within 40 meters with one arrow, but Black Widow, a high powerful long range sniper rifle, cannot one shot a target that's 275 without an external damage boost, because Hawkeye has what Black Widow has. Hawkeye has a built-in passive that is a damage multiplier to his arrow. He actually has two. He has one with him simply charging the shot, like him drawing his bow, and then him like with his passive where he has to look at a target. So he has two of those. But Black Widow has none of those, and that's why she sucks. But even then, even if they gave Black Widow a charging sort of mechanic, it still wouldn't fix her pick rate. It would make her viable, but Marvel Rivals would never do that. Overwatch at least has the balls to actually go full on ham with an actual sniper. They do a sniper justice, but with Black Widow, they don't. But they do with Hawkeye. It's really funny to see, because if you look at Marvel Rivals situation, Black Widow sucks. Hawkeye, really good, really solid. And in Overwatch situation, Hanzo, he doesn't suck. He's all right. He's good in the right hands. But if you're really good at aiming on Hanzo, you would get more value from that aim with Widowmaker, because she just flat out does more damage for headshots. So if you're landing your headshots on Hanzo, you're going to get more value, and you're going to be a more valuable player and more rewarded because you're getting more damage output with Widowmaker. So it's really funny to see how they're on the flip side of the coin with these two hero shooters and how they treat snipers. How Overwatch has a sniper healer that does so exceptionally well, and she has such a solid pick rate. To put this in comparison, Gambit was literally just released. Like, he was just released about like a month or two ago. But Gambit, like one of the newest characters in the game and one of the most popular sort of X-Men, one of the most popular mutant characters. He's very well known. He's super popular in the MCU and just in Marvel in general. He has a 31.56% pick rate in quick play. To compare that with Ana has a 31.6% pick rate. Ana was released in 2016, and she has a higher pick rate than a character that was released 2 months ago in 2025. That goes to show how much they absolutely cooked on Ana's design and how many people love playing a sniper healer, and instead of simply just buffing Black Widow as a duelist, because she will still be outclassed by Hela. She will still be outclassed by Phoenix, by Hawkeye, simply because they're more versatile. They have better long range, mid range, and more value in their kit. So they should absolutely just don't even worry about making her a duelist, making her a better duelist, because she already, obviously, Marvel Rivals will never learn how to balance her as a duelist. So let's make her into a strategist. And it's funny because her win rate when the game first came out was 44%. Right, and that was still the lowest at the time. Now is 41%, so it actually dropped, and that's because the sniper hybrids not only got buffs, but there's just new sniper hybrids. And so her being outclassed as the sniper by sniper hybrids is so funny, because Overwatch clearly does snipers better, and the sniper hybrids aren't as powerful as the sniper. And before you say, oh my god, dude, this guy's glazing Overwatch, this guy's an Overwatch player, clearly. I'm not an Overwatch player. I played Overwatch back in the day when it first came out, and I played a little bit of Overwatch 2. I gotta respect the game design for Overwatch in the sense of snipers. They do that exceptionally well, especially in this case, but I have infinitely more hours in Marvel Rivals, and I'm a fan of both. And before you type, oh man, this guy's just going to suggest that we should work Black Widow into just what Ana does or just what Widowmaker does, I think taking inspiration is good. I don't think we should take the approach of gatekeeping certain things because it's in the same genre. That's like pulling a Pokemon and saying, like, oh, I throw ball at a monster and I catch it and then I throw the ball again to summon it. Like, that should only be like an exclusive mechanic in this particular game. It's like, no, it's like, obviously Overwatch took inspiration from, I mean, literally look at Widowmaker. She's a clear inspiration for Black Widow. Black Widow is an older character. She's an older comic book character. She was made in like she was made in like the 70s or 60s or something like that. And she's obvious, like her, like their names are similar. They obviously do similar things, but at least in the comics, Black Widow is known for her Black Widow gauntlets. She's known for her technology, her combat, her being a spy. And yes, she's really precise. She's a really solid marksman and one of the best marksmen in Marvel. But she also is known for her technology, her gadgets, and again, her gauntlets that she fires from. And you'd never see that ever in any gameplay in Marvel Rivals. You see this in other games like Marvel Avengers that came out, I think, in like 2022 or something like that. But in Marvel Rivals, you just don't see that ever. And so taking inspiration from Ana, taking inspiration from Widowmaker should be good, because if Black Widow is fixed in Marvel Rivals, that will bring even more people to play the hero shooter genre, and both games will do well. Both games benefit from competition. Having this Black Widow rework now would be perfect timing because, well, we have the Phoenix Teamup, yes, but we also have, with the most recent Battle Pass, the most badass skin they have, which is the Black Widow Year 1 outfit. And this Year 1 outfit, of course, has her Black Widow gauntlets. But it's so funny because in her MVP, she actually uses her gauntlets, which is never present in her gameplay. She uses her gauntlets to, of course, fire bullets from, which she does in her emote. And even in her MVP, which is super badass, by the way. She like drops from the side of a skyscraper, uses her grapple hook to burst through the other side of another skyscraper. She uses a grapple hook. She doesn't have that. She never uses, you can't use a grapple hook in her gameplay. You can like grapple to an enemy, which it sucks. That ability is horrible. but her actually having an actual grapple hook, which is, wow, a sniper can have a grapple hook. You just don't have that, which is so funny to see that. So Marvel Rivals is literally edging Black Widow fans or sniper enjoyers. And we were literally robbed of having a proper sniper. So the least that they can do is give us this rework. So I've taken the liberty to make this rework happen to the absolute best ability I can, while giving Black Widow justice with comic accuracy while still presenting new gameplay, because again, she's a duelist, so I had to make an entirely new kit for her, which honestly was a pain in the ass, but not gonna lie, it was pretty fun. So let's check out her passive. All right, so Black Widow's passive, Fleetfoot. If you recognize this name, it's because this was actually the name of her ability, where she had a stamina bar where she can run a little bit faster and jump a bit higher, or jump quite a bit higher. That ability was bunts because you had to hold it just to run faster and to jump higher. For Captain America, it makes sense because you can combo that with another ability, but there's no comboing with that for Black Widow. So I simply nerfed it. But I made it her passive. So it's passively active whenever she has her sniper rifle out. It's her base movement speed in most characters in Marvel Rivals. If you didn't know, their base movement speed is 6 meters per second. Whenever she has her sniper out, her movement speed will go from 6 meters to 6.5. So she's just very slightly faster, but her jump height is increased to kind of make her gameplay where she can kind of jump higher, scope and like snipe her team and heal. And whenever she has her Widow gauntlets out, which before, if you didn't know, Black Widow, she had her sniper as a duelist, and then you can swap that out for her to have these like little melee batons. Her melee batons sucked so bad. They were horrible. You barely saw anyone use them, because if you're playing a sniper character, why would you use the ability that doesn't require aim, right? And so she will have her actual Black Widow gauntlets that she has in game that she never uses and that she has in the comics. And whenever she has this out, she can perform a combat role. Think of like Dark Souls, but not like you can just spam it. I put a cooldown on it, so she can, like, instead of like pressing the double jump, so like pressing the spacebar twice or the jump ability twice, you just perform a combat roll forward, backwards, or to the side. And this sort of gameplay will be so freaking fun. It'll be kind of similar to Star-Lord, because Star-Lord has like the SMGs, and then he can, like, you know, do like a front flip or a back flip, but that is infinitely stronger because he can't get damaged in that flip, so you can dodge abilities. And if you're thinking, oh my god, this is literally just Cassidy's combat roll, Cassidy's combat roll gives him 50% damage reduction, and it reloads his gun. With Black Widow, it will not do that. It's just simply for an evasive maneuver, and she does this in other games and in the comics, and it's super fun, super badass to see it happen. And it's a cool mobility thing that's not actually in Marvel Rivals. I believe there's no other character in the game that currently can just do a combat roll. All right, so let's check out her sniper rifle. So I'm increasing the rate of fire from 0.8 to 1 round per second. Ana from Overwatch is pretty fast. I think it's around 1.2 rounds per second, so it's going to be slightly slower than Ana's, but it'll do more base healing, as well as it has a healing over time effect for that 1 second. So it does 90 healing in total, 60 impact, and 30 healing over time for that second. And this is really unique because unlike Ana's, it does impact and healing over time, versus Ana's does no impact. Just the entire healing output is technically healing over time, because I believe it takes 0.7 seconds to reach that full 70 or 90 health that she heals per shot. And she does, again, she has a faster rate of fire. So this is the trade-off for having a slower rate of fire. It'll do more base healing, but I didn't want to just simply copy Ana's healing, as it has a unique healing over time effect with a combination of it doing impact healing. And for the damage aspect, it does not pierce. It does 60 damage flat. It has no damage fall off. And on top of that, just like Ana's, it cannot headshot. That would be way too OP if you could headshot while piercing through allies. Just like Jeff could pierce, heal through allies, and it won't headshot, just like Luna whenever she's in her empowered state. that pierces allies, it cannot headshot. So I want to make that consistent, and the damage aspect isn't too high, as it's 60 damage, which is lower than like Jeff's, which is like 70 damage a second. Healing has travel time, versus Black Widow is hit scan and has potentially no limit to the range other than just it needs to be in line of sight. So of course there'll always be trade-offs, and I'm taking into consideration the balance aspect. Since it does do pierce healing, it has no limit to its range. Since it's a sniper, it can't headshot, and it does impact healing and healing over time, but that healing over time is higher base than some of the other healers, but the other healers will have more healing abilities to increase their output, versus Black Widow. Most of her healing, if not all of her healing from this rework, is coming just from her weapons, aka her sniper and her Black Widow's gauntlets. So let's check out her Black Widow gauntlets. She finally has the ability to use her iconic gauntlets, and of course this was replaced with her Widow's Bite batons. That sucks, those little batons that she used to be able to melee with, which no one used. So now she can actually do damage and heal within close range, within 10 meters with these gauntlets. And it does 8 healing per round, so 140 health per second. So 420, the funny number, with a full magazine. Her damage is 4 per round. That's 80 damage per second, and 240 for the full magazine. And it can headshot to enemies. And so the damage per headshot is 6 per round, 120 DPS, and 360 full magazine. So this is going to be huge because, again, this is going to be her main. This is where most of her healing is coming from within close range. Most of her healing is coming from her sniper, long range, mid range. But if to get most value from her heals, it'll be with her iconic gauntlets. So I thought it would be cool to not only incorporate her gauntlets, but the trade-off is it's within close range, right? And of course, it doesn't do any piercing at all. So that's another trade-off. Unlike the sniper, which does pierce through allies for the heal part, this does not pierce for the healing and doesn't do piercing damage. That would be way too OP, of course. And I made the fall off have harsh damage fall off past 10 meters, just like Star-Lord, where Star-Lord's not going to be like one tapping you from the screen from like 40 meters away, because of course he's a close range character. And just like the gauntlets, in the comics, she would use her gauntlets within close range. So this is going to be a really fun ability where she's going to be healing her allies, doing damage to enemies within close range, fighting back, using her gauntlets, and combat rolling with it. So next, let's go to her shock grenade, which is her second ability. So the shock grenade replaced Fleet Foot. That was obviously now turned into her passive, and her shock grenade is going to be kind of similar to Invisible Woman's sort of psionic vortex, where she throws this sort of like psionic sphere, and she can press the button again to detonate it into this like area denial. It's going to be very similar to that, but it's going to be a much smaller radius, as it's 3 meters. It'll fire an electrical sphere for 3 seconds, and it stuns enemies for 1.5 seconds, and it deals 75 damage over time within its radius. And Invisible Woman's is not only much bigger, it's 5 meters. It does twice as much more damage, but the trade-off is that it stuns. Right, so that's the trade-off. So it's a sort of the smaller area denial sort of area, and she does this in the comics. She fires sort of an electrical blast called Widow's Bite from her Black Widow gauntlets, and it's just going to be a unique sort of take on area denial and keeping it in line with the character. So let's check out her next ability, which is Widow's Line. So Widow's Line, this will be her grappling hook, and before you say, oh, dude, this is literally what Widowmaker does, she fires her grapple hook from her gauntlet. This has been a thing in the comics that Black Widow has been able to do for a very long time. I mean, look at this. This artwork is like, I think from the 70s or 80s. I can't pinpoint an exact date, but she did this first. But it'll be similar to Widowmaker's sort of grapple hook, but it'll be an enhanced version, as well as giving her sustain, as all healers in the game have sustain, as in they heal themselves. Like Invisible Woman, she could double jump, go invisible. She heals that. Loki can go invisible. Jeff can give himself a bubble, and healers oftentimes have more than one level of sustain. Black Widow will only have, this is her only sustain. So her healing will, she gets sustain as in healing whenever she's in her grapple mode, as in so she can go from point A to point B. So she can grapple to like a ceiling or grapple to a wall, and she can stick to the wall. So think of like Daredevil. Think of a Daredevil like hook, where you can hook to the wall and hold to the wall and just like aura farm, and like Mew when he's just like stay on the wall aura farming. Same thing with Black Widow, but she heals during this. Like while she's grappled, she gains continuous healing, and then whenever she exits the grapple, she heals. The healing effect lasts for 4 seconds after that. And during the grapple, not only does she get healing, she gets damage resistance because she's visible. And before you say, oh my god, dude, she's getting damage resistance, this is so OP, she is visible. You can see her. She is a stationary target. It makes sense for her to have some form of damage resistance on top of the healing, and this healing isn't even that much. It's as much healing as when Loki or when Invisible Woman go invisible. It's 20 healing per second, which is less than a Jeff bubble. And a Jeff bubble not only heals for more, it boosts her movement speed by 60%. It more than doubles the movement speed. So she is not, it's not absurdly like OP with the utility. She's not like grappling from like an absurd distance from like across the map and having some absurd movement speed. Since she has already a slight increase of movement speed in her sniper form, whenever she's in her grapple, it's just point A to point B utility. She gains sustain, and on top of that, she's able to show skill expression and like hold that position on the wall and like heal her team from the side of a wall or from the ceiling, which is in character. It's comic accurate, and I think it's a really fun, unique take on just simply a grapple hook. That's her only ability for sustain, unlike, again, other characters like Jeff, where he can literally go on the ground. He heals in that. A Jeff bubble, he heals from that. So let's go to her next ability, which is the shield emitter. So the shield emitter, which is her third ability, we're going to replace her edge dancer, which is where she roundhouse kicks you, and then within 3 seconds she can like pull you to her, and then she does like a brief stun. That ability is buns. It's horrible. So we're replacing that ability with the shield emitter ability. And not gonna lie, this one took a while for me to come up with, because this is gonna be pretty cool. So it fires a microchip from Black Widow's gauntlets, providing bonus effects to the target ally. So for the ally, you fire the microchip from your gauntlet. They gain 75 bonus health, and they gain that 75 bonus health until it's depleted. So it could, in theory, last indefinitely, which it's not, because it's bonus health. It's going to, like, an enemy is going to destroy that bonus health, and once it is destroyed around the target ally who has the bonus health, so it's depleted, it activates 15% damage reduction or damage resistance, as well as a 20% healing bonus lasting for 4 seconds in a 5-meter radius around that target ally. And so the activation range is going to be 35 meters because she's a sniper. She can activate it kind of far. And the tether logic is double. So it's within 70 meters. This ability is going to be huge because it can be used for like dive or a dive character. It's going to go far into the back line. So you can activate it on them to give that 75 health. They go in. They can combo in the back line because they're dive, for example, and it doesn't increase their damage. It doesn't increase their time to kill. It just simply increases their survivability, but you'll get the most value by putting that on your tank or protecting an ally who's going to be who's like extremely low and it's going to die. So you put that 75 health, which is not a lot, by the way. It's more of the after effects of that, and it's really nice because it triggers that AoE healing boost, as well as the damage reduction or damage resistance for 4 seconds in that 5-meter radius. And this healing boost, it's 20%. To a lot of people, it'd be like, holy shit, this is so broken. You get healing boost and damage reduction. Ana's healing boost is 50%. It's more than double than this one. And it like fully gives anti-heal. And for example, a Jeff bubble, slightly more than a Jeff bubble, but the Jeff bubble gives, again, that 60% bonus movement speed, which is really nice, and it lasts for longer. But it does give that damage reduction, so it's going to be very useful for utilizing that for your team, especially when they're grouped up. And this healing boost is not as high as Luna's like Idol Aura. That one, I believe, is like 35 to 40% healing bonus, which that's a nice chunk of change when it comes to healing. This is going to be a cool ability because it's long range, and it can be deployed, and that bonus health lasts on your target ally until it's depleted, which triggers that effect. And I gave it a 4-second cooldown to swap if the health is undamaged, 8 seconds if it's fully destroyed, and 12 seconds if the ally is fully eliminated. So if you put it on your tank, the shield's depleted, and they still die with the healing bonus, with the damage reduction, it penalizes that, and it gives you a longer cooldown because they shouldn't have died there. All right, so her ultimate is now going to be the Electroplasma Web. Before, it was the Electroplasma Explosion, which was buns. It had horrible visuals. It was very hard to see whenever you actually fired it. And it was also very hard to see if you got hit in it, like where it was. It kind of just gave these weird like red splotches on the ground that was very half-assed. But with this one, it changes. It has a similar vibe to it and similar debuffs, but it's balanced and it's reworked in a way where it's for a strategist ultimate. Just like her previous ultimate, you fire this, it'll be a ranged attack fired from your sniper. So you switch your Red Room rifle to destruction mode, and you unleash a electroplasma infused web canister that, when detonated to wherever you're pointing at, it activates the plasma infused web onto the ground, and it slows enemies in a 15 by 15 meter radius, so a rectangle or like a square. And so it'll buff allies by simply giving them flat 150 bonus health, persisting for 3 seconds with an impact, just like that. And then after that, they get, or during that and after that, for within that 10-second duration, they get 150 healing per second. And that's all it does for allies. So it gives shield and health. But the big utility of it is aiming it at your enemies, as it gives 15% vulnerability to all enemies. It reduces their movement speed by 20%, and it continuously grounds them, persisting, and these debuffs persist for 2 seconds upon leaving the web. So the really unique thing about this that I thought was really cool about her current sort of ultimate was that it's a ranged sort of debuff, and I wanted to keep that same sort of perspective and that same sort of utility into her strategist rework. And I think this is a very fun change because it's a ranged sort of healing ultimate, but it's not as strong as, for example, a Cloak and Dagger or Invisible Woman, because technically, I guess Invisible Woman can fire her ultimate ranged by, just like moving it, but Cloak and Dagger or Luna or Mantis, it is all tied around yourself, like when you're playing the character. But with Black Widow as a strategist, in this rework, you can still fire a ranged debuff, and it sort of it's great for sort of engaging. You can use this as an engaged ultimate by ulting the enemy, and it creates that sort of, it's both. So you can create that debuff onto them, so when allies go in there, they have more survivability, more sustain. Or if your allies are, it's an emergency situation where a duelist like Winter Soldier uses his ultimate, you can fire it at your allies and give them like a flat bonus shield on top of the continuous healing while debuffing enemies, but it's not too absurdly strong. Like the slow, it's 20%. This is more than half of Invisible Woman slow, simply because of the grounding effect. I didn't want to make the slow too strong. Since there's a grounding effect there, I made sure it didn't do damage, like Cloak and Daggers, for example, and I made sure the healing wasn't as strong as Cloak and Daggers, and I made sure the area of effect isn't as big, and it's not just a healing circle, it's a healing rectangle, but it can be fired range, and it adds more utility. There's more utility with the debuff aspect while still providing a decent amount of utility for your team. It doesn't give as much utility for the team as a Invisible Woman ultimate for like the healing, or as much as a Luna ultimate. Definitely not. It doesn't give nowhere near as much shield or as healing as Luna, or even as much flat healing as Cloak and Daggers. But it's the fact that it can be deployed range, it gives debuffs, and I made sure to consider all aspects when it comes to balancing, as this is going to be her strongest. It's her ultimate. It should be her strongest ability, and I wanted to make it fun while still keeping the sort of identity of classic or duelist Black Widow. So, and the duration lasts for 10 seconds. The energy was kind of hard to calculate. I just made it around 4,300. And lastly, of course, I had to do the team up, and she's going to have a team up with Captain America and Winter Soldier. And I wanted to do this team up because one, Cap, Winter Soldier, and Black Widow, they all have either the Super Soldier Serum or they have some variant of it. And two, she is, I believe, canonically in a relationship with Winter Soldier. So that'll be, I guess, unfortunately, Cap's going to be third wheeling here, but I mean, he's a bro. He could handle it for this team up, but it'll be a more simplified version of the Winter Soldier team up where like he brofists Captain America, like Winter Soldier in the team up literally brofists Captain America and it gives bonus shield. It'll be a variant of that where whenever she activates her stun grenade from her gauntlet, it gives her flat 30 bonus shield. And if the stun grenade, whenever it detonates, and allies, and it's like accessible to allies, where allies can go inside of its like radius, it gives allies 50 bonus shield. And this decays for 3 seconds. So it's not absurdly broken. It's the same. It's literally identical to Winter Soldier's shield amount and the shield duration with this team up. So I just wanted to keep it fairly balanced. It's pretty straightforward. She just activates it, gets a little bonus shield. It won't hurt because Winter Soldier gets bonus shield for breathing. So I think this is a nice sort of cherry on top with this whole rework, sort of fully encompassing that, you know, she has a Super Soldier Serum. It'd be cool if she'd finally get a team up with the bros with the Super Soldier Serum, and of course her love interest. And yeah, that's pretty much all of her abilities. Now the fun part, the visual UI and the visual updates. Of course, they're going to be giving all of her abilities a new visual update, but whenever this rework happens, she needs a skin, and the skin that I want to give her whenever she's a strategist is going to be when she has the Venom symbiote from the Venom Wars comic run. And her like look in this comic run, she looks so fucking badass. She looks like she's from like an anime. Like, it is so cool. She's got the bright red hair. She's the Venom symbiote all over her. We can get a Venom symbiote Black Widow skin. I almost said Scarlett Johansson skin because of the actress, but we can get a Venom Black Widow skin, and this would fit her perfectly, especially as a strategist, and it would look so badass. And this could be her first ultimate skin where it changes her ability VFX. This would, you know, she would get a Venom symbiote sort of sniper, and it can change sort of, maybe she gets an ult VFX for her. Now she actually has a web, like in her ultimate. She actually has Black Widow comic abilities. So this would be the perfect skin on top of like this full rework package to give Black Widow. And I think this would do so much justice to the character, so much justice to the strategist role, and justice to snipers, as this isn't just trying to copy Widowmaker. This isn't just trying to copy Ana. This is a mix of, this is a hybrid character that not only is just a sniper, she's also a spy. She's also has this cool tech. She has a lot of utility, and this would make her actually playable. This would increase her pick rate, increase her win rate when done right. Again, I'm not like a game developer, so these numbers can just be tweaked and adjusted, but that's pretty much the entire rework. And if you like this rework, go check out the Hulk rework video I did on my channel. That one was much easier to do because I play Hulk and I was able to like do the rework a lot faster. This one took a fat while. It took me so long to think of the abilities because she's a duelist. So I had to think of all the new abilities as a strategist. I had to do the numbers, do all the charts, do more research on the character, and play the character. I had to play the character, of course. It's really hard to make a video on a character you don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Later.